This week we read Parashat Emor. It's the only place in the whole Torah where all the Jewish holidays are delineated. They're written out only in this week's Torah portion, the whole Jewish calendar. So I want to go through each holiday and see how the energy of that time is important for us to tap into, to recognize that the holidays aren't disjointed. They're all connected and they all help us to be psychologically healthy people with a story of who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. So we start with Passover. Passover, which we just celebrated, is a holiday of our Jewish identity. Who are we? We're that people who came out from Egypt that were slaves, that God brought out with signs and wonders and miracles and made into this holy nation. We are those people. That's who we are. That's our story. We travel 49 days in the desert, and we understand that we're supposed to count those days. Those days are to help us transition from being slaves to being free people, ready to enter into relationship with God at Mount Sinai and to receive the Torah. So these 49 days are days that we are taught and enjoined to count. It says in the Psalms, teach us to number our days so that we may have a heart of wisdom. So we want to have a heart of wisdom. We want to change. We want to be better. We want to grow. 49 days, we get to Mount Sinai, we receive the Torah on Shavuos. Shavuos is the day where God gives us a moral code. Here's the guidebook. Here's how you live your life. If you want relationship with me, do this. Do it this way. This is our moral code. That's what we have in our toolbox of how to live our lives. Then we come to Rosh Hashanah, creation of the world. And it's a day where we recognize and we understand and we're reminded about the brevity of life. And through the Rosh Hashanah into Yom Kippur, where we are judged, where there's an opportunity for us to change and for us to make amends for things we've done wrong and to ask forgiveness and to apologize. But it's a day where we're judged because what we do matters. Who we are and what we do matters. Sukkot is the next holiday where we build little huts, little booths in our back gardens, and we sit in them and we recognize the temporary nature of life, how vulnerable we are. And yet we also recognize and are grateful for the protection that God gives us, that God gives us a hug, that he's surrounding us in the desert with the clouds of glory, that we have a fire that helps lead our way, but that God is with us on every step of our journey. That's Sukkot. That we have to remind ourselves and remember that that's what's happening and it's happening today. And every week we have Shabbos. We have Shabbos as a holy day that God imbues with holiness, independent of whether we tap into it or not. But it's a day where we reconnect ourselves to God, where we reconnect to ourselves and to our fellow. And it's a time of rest and rejuvenation. And finally, we have every month a new moon, a newness, a change, again, a way to recreate ourselves and to recognize that we're not stuck, that we can always be better, we can always work on ourselves. So we have our sense of Jewish identity, we have a sense of the moral code of how to live our lives, what our guidebook is, and that life is brief and that God is taking care of us. And may we merit to have all the protection and all the love and all the blessing that God wants to bestow upon us.